Hello, my name is Lauren Allen, and I am one of the coordinators on the school-based counseling team at Access Counseling Services. And today I'm going to be talking to you about ADHD as it relates to the social emotional learning. What is ADHD? ADHD is one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders of childhood. It is usually first diagnosed in childhood and often lasts into adulthood. Children with ADHD may have trouble paying attention, controlling impulsive behaviors. They may act out without thinking about what the result will be, or they could be overly active. It is normal for children to have trouble focusing and behaving at one time or another. However, children with ADHD do not just grow out of these behaviors. The symptoms continue, can be severe, and can cause difficulty at school, at home, or with friends. Here are some of the most common symptoms you're going to see in the classroom of a child with ADHD. They're going to be daydreaming a lot, forgetting or losing things a lot, squirming or fidgeting, talking too much, making careless mistakes or taking unnecessary risks, difficulty getting along with others, having trouble taking turns, having a hard time resisting temptation. They're going to have a lot of unfinished tasks and trouble getting organized. Social emotional learning and ADHD. Social emotional learning provides kids with ADHD the tools they need to create a path to success, face difficult challenges, address anxiety and anger, and maintain positive relationships. Social emotional learning can also give kids with ADHD and their parents or guardians exactly what they need to self-reflect and feel grounded in the present moment. The next section of this presentation is going to be a list of interventions that can be used with kids elementary aged, middle school, and then high school age. The first ones that we have for elementary aged are to decide together with the student on a sign or code that could be used to remind the child to be on task. For example, you can make eye contact and touch your ear or pick up a particular object, or you could hold up one or two fingers as a sign to help that child remember, oh, I need to be doing my work. I need to get back on task. Miss Smith just picked up the object that you guys agreed on and looked at me with it. And the next one that you could do would be to use charts for a point system, or tokens, stars, or any other methods to reinforce appropriate behaviors. And on the next slide here, I have an example of a behavior chart that a student could use at school. And it can be broken up by each day of the week in the morning or the afternoon. And you can have the top 3 things be different. For this one, the examples are stayed in area, attention to lessons, or finished works, or they could be keep hands to themselves, did not yell, and completed the task or the lessons. And if that child did follow the rules or did stay in the classroom, finish their work, then they would get a smiley face or a check mark or something, and they could earn points to get something. If it was lunch with the teacher or a sucker or candy bar, something that they're working towards. This next slide is for middle school age interventions of kids with ADHD. One of them is to provide opportunities for physical activity, allowing for breaks in between work to help students take a mental break. This can be done whether it's in the physical classroom or virtual learning. And then the next one kind of goes along with it, setting a timer, and after so many minutes they could get up and take a break, or they could get up and talk to a friend, something that kind of breaks it up so it's easier for them to sit and focus, knowing that when that timer goes off, I get to get up, or I get to stand up and do jumping jacks, or go get a drink of water, or just move from my area. And knowing that they get that opportunity will help them complete the tasks during that time. And then the third intervention would be creating a checklist to help them stay organized and prepared, and knowing what they need to have ready for the next step or the next class or the next activity. And on the next slide here, I have an example of a checklist, and this could be done too, whether it's in class or virtual learning, if they could have these with them and know how to prepare for the next thing, so they're not showing up for a class or a Zoom meeting not prepared with everything they need. So here some of the examples are taking out all the things you'll need to complete, put them in a pile with what you are going to do first. Make sure that you have what you need to complete the first task, notes, pencils, pens, those kinds of things in front of you. And then put all the other material on the floor. So it's out of sight, out of mind. It's there when you need it, but it's not going to be a distraction while you're working on the first thing. Set your timer for 10 minutes or however long. When it goes off, you get a break. Use this timer to get a drink, take a walk, do some jumping jacks, or close your eyes for a minute. When you're done, reset the timer for 10 minutes. Read all of your notes that will help you complete the assignment. Put your name on top of the paper, read the directions, explain the directions to someone else. Saying them out loud will help you to understand and remember what you need. First, read the first question. Use the chart on the back of this paper to help you answer it. Go on to the next and the next and the next until you are done. Put this assignment in the proper location in your folder. Cross it off your agenda as if it was homework. Put away all the materials for the assignment and take out the materials for the next assignment. So this is something that they can check off as they're doing these things and just know what they need to do to be prepared. And then this slide is high school age interventions. One of them could be using a journal to help keep track of the times that they were able to exhibit impulse control or the times they weren't. So the student could write down certain situations that they maybe had a conflict with another student, and it could be a situation where the other student said something to them that really triggered them and made them angry and upset, and instead of stooping to their level and getting angry back at them, they chose to take the high road and just brush it off and walk the other way, or they could have stooped their level and said something else negative and gotten in trouble. Those are kind of situations that they could write in the journal, and they could come to you as the teacher to kind of let you know how they're doing. Also, maybe an example could be schoolwork. If there was an assignment that needed to be completed and instead of completing it, they were texting on their phone, or instead of responding to their text messages, they completed their work. They could put those in the journal and kind of process them to see how they handled it and maybe how they could have handled it differently to have a better outcome. And then another possible thing could be to have regular check-ins with the students to see how they are doing. These could be daily, weekly, bi-daily, just to kind of see how are you feeling? Happy, sad, tired, jealous, lonely, depressed, excited, surprised, anxious. You can add other ones to that. And once they circled a few of those, they could give you a number. 0 to 10. 0 being the worst day ever, 5 being kind of in the middle, so-so, and 10 being the best day ever. And then they would give you a number. And then from there, if it was under a 5, what coping skills can I use? Draw, sing, listen to music, exercise, jog, play outside, do schoolwork, play a board game, video games, that kind of stuff, talk with friends, hang out with friends, nap, etc. So they can kind of express how they're feeling, what number they're at in that feeling, and then maybe a reminder of, oh, these are some coping skills I can use to help me get above a 5 and feel a little bit better. Role playing is an intervention that can be used among all ages and modified to help in many situations. It can help the student break down situations into smaller pieces that are easier for them to learn from or to be prepared for. For example, if Johnny got in trouble for yelling at Susie in the classroom, you could break that situation down with him to process what was he feeling. Why did he yell at her? Did she say something or do something to him? And then talk about what the consequence was of him yelling at her and what could he have done differently instead of yelling at her? How could he have calmed down, not acted with impulse, and chose a better way to respond to it that would have led in a healthier, positive consequence instead of him getting in trouble. And again, this can be used among all ages in many different situations to help them learn from something they did or someone else, or to be prepared if it ever did happen to them. Again, my name is Lauren Allen, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen to this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at my email listed below. Thank you and have a good day.